Hi everyone, so I'm doing another get ready with me because I haven't got my face on yet. And you guys seem to really enjoy my last one where I talked about plastic in packaging and how I wish brands would reduce and be more conscious of their environmental impact when they use things like plastic and foam and all those kind of things that pretty much can't be recycled or go to landfill. It's actually really encouraging to hear that so many of you care about the environment. So many people agreed with yes, brands and corporations should do more. Rightly so, because we are facing a crisis in Australia, in the world. People are awakening to these issues. So I just want to continue that conversation. And I thought about talking about single-use items I no longer want to buy or am not allowed to buy. I'm not allowing myself to buy these anymore. I kind of touched on it in my previous one, but this one's kind of other stuff. I think single-use items, it's kind of an easy-ish place to start if you want to reduce like the amount of waste you create in your household, because there are a lot of alternatives to things I'm going to talk about. Let's put some makeup on. Like the previous video, everything that I put on my face is going to be in the description below, so I can just concentrate on the topic at hand. Again, like I said, I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed listening to my previous video. The topic, it seemed like something that was on a lot of your minds, and it was interesting to read your comments. Someone said that, you know, it's great that we're doing our own thing to minimize that impact, but we also shouldn't allow corporations to use us, the consumers, as a scapegoat so that they can just kind of deny all responsibility and accountability for their part in this issue. And I totally agree. So as I'm talking about this, I'm not saying that it is up to us. It's not just up to us. It's up to governments, it's up to corporations to do their part. And it's interesting that I talk about this because I never mentioned this to really anyone, but I did actually write an email to the Premier, and I really rarely ever make much noise. I feel like I've never participated in any protests, but this is something that I do think is really important. And I agree with Kimberly Clark in that she said, you know, it's good to think about these issues, but if you don't take any action, it's a little bit pointless. Like boycotting brands because you don't agree with them, it's not enough. You need to take action to kind of make that into something that's more real. I'm not really paraphrasing her very well, but I do actually agree with that. This is actually the first time I've actually done anything political, which is very strange for me. But I did actually write an email to the Premier regarding a container deposit scheme, because I do think that that's something that would benefit Victoria, because there's a lot of like littering in our waters. You see plastic bottles. You would think almost that you're in another country when you kind of see that, all that litter everywhere. I think we are the only state I think actually we're the only state now in Australia that doesn't have a container deposit scheme. New South Wales recently introduced one. Basically, that is a scheme where households collect bottles, plastics, glass bottles, and then they drop them off at a recycling place or deposit center, and they get 10 cents for every bottle that they collect, which I think is great. So they actually did reply to me today. I thought they were just ignoring my email because I sent that email probably around 2 months ago. And basically they said that they're looking into it. They did actually mention that they are going to ban plastic lightweight shopping bags from 1st of November, which I honestly don't think is enough, because supermarkets then introduce the thicker plastic bags, which is actually worse for the environment. I don't know, it's a typical political response, kind of not really saying very much. I don't know if I should have expected any more. I probably shouldn't have. The skeptic in me says that even though I do kind of say something, they're not going to care, but I'm hoping there are lots of people maybe like me that have done the same thing and that they actually listen. That's probably a very naive view. But anyway, I just went really off topic. Okay, single items I no longer want to buy. First thing I want to mention is face masks, sheet face masks. I actually have a ton of face masks in my bathroom. I bought some when I was in Japan. I've been given some, and I honestly just don't use them, because I just feel like they're very limiting. You put it on and then you have to wait 20 minutes and just do nothing for 20 minutes. You can't really do very much, otherwise they'll slip off your face. I have actually come to realize how kind of wasteful they are, and it's not something I ever really thought about. I don't know why it's taken me so long to actually realize that it's not a personal preference of mine. I would rather have a mask in a pot and then be able to recycle the packaging rather than, you know, because they all come in plastic and you only use it once and you throw it away, I don't think they will degrade over time. Well, maybe 500 years, I don't know. So I've decided that I no longer want to buy products like that you kind of use once and throw it away, and that isn't, you know, a preference of mine anyway, in terms of what I like in skincare. So I guess that was an easy one for me to think about. Again, because I don't like using them. I am going to try and use the ones I have, or maybe giving them away, because, you know, otherwise it is a bit of a waste. I wish brands would kind of move away from that, or if they do that, think about how they can repackage those kind of things. I don't know, because it is wet inside, the mask is wet inside, and it would degrade over time if you put it into like cardboard or something that can degrade. Obviously it is an attractive thing for people to get, because instead of paying, you know, $20, $30, $40 for a tub of mask, you can literally pay 50 cents, $1, $2 for one sheet mask. And again, this is something that there already are alternatives that are a bit better for the environment, such as masks that come in a pot, so you can get like 30 applications or 10 applications or however many applications. Although I guess, you know, there are some brands that don't offer their exact formula in that format. I would like to see more brands moving towards that route, especially Asian brands. I notice are very, very into sheet masks. I just feel like there surely is a better way to do that. It's not something that I want to kind of buy anymore. I'm not going to be buying any more of those things in my future trips to Japan. Next one is samples, and I'm not talking about like going into a store, getting a sample to like match, you know, your shade or anything like that. I'm talking about those annoying like sachet samples of things that are thrown in purchase when you purchase something. I mean, first of all, how many people have actually bought the full-size product after they've tried a sample? I can let you know I've never ever done that with one of those tiny samples, because you don't get enough, honestly, to try out the product in the first place. And usually when I have the option of unselecting or de-ticking the option of do you want samples in there, I untick it, because I have literally boxes full of these tiny little samples, which I do take traveling. But honestly, how often do I travel? Once a year, once or twice a year. I mean, I don't need boxes full of samples so that I can take traveling twice a year. So I literally, that is something that is on my to-do list, is actually clear out that those boxes, because I have far too many. It's just not a smart way to get consumers to buy your full product, because that's, like I said, it's not enough really to try a product. That's how I feel. Let me know if you feel otherwise. I don't know. It's just, personally, I've never bought anything, you know, after trying a tiny sachet out. Other things like advent calendars, mystery boxes. I have also come to realize that is not my jam. That's not my thing. They do often have samples as well. Sometimes they have full-size products. But personally, I like to choose my own product. I like to know what I'm getting, because I realized over the years, and this is why I no longer buy the Beautylish Lucky Bag, I have ended up with lots of products that I actually either don't like, don't use. It is worth the money maybe if you like every single thing in that box, or maybe 90% of that box, but how many people like the whole box? Those boxes are not tailor-made for you. They are kind of a surprise. It's not tailored to anyone. It's just to the masses. Aside from that, I've actually realized that my skin, I'm not sure how many people have been watching me since the very first, my very first videos, but if you look back at my very first videos, I had awful skin. You would have seen bumps everywhere on my face. In the past, I have had somewhat sensitized skin. I've had bad reactions from products, and I've just realized I need to firstly introduce things very slowly, like my skincare routine. And some people have been asking me for that, but honestly, it's a very simple routine. And when I do want to introduce a new product, I introduce it one at a time. I don't introduce 10 things at once, because my skin doesn't like that. And you know what? Good skin is honestly a luxury to have. It's not a given. My skin can turn on me still. If I'm not careful, if I try 3 or 4 different sample products on my skin, that can go really wrong, and so I don't do that. For that reason also, I don't like, you know, mystery boxes where I don't know what's in it. And I don't know if those things will agree with my skin. It is a gamble. I don't feel like it's a very wise decision for me, and I'm not getting, you know, bang for my buck, I don't feel, when I'm buying into those things. I have looked at some and been like, that's interesting. But again, I would rather just buy the full size, or, you know, go to a store and get a small jar of that sample, rather than, you know, 20 different items and I might use 5. To me, then you are purchasing effectively a box full of samples of which you won't use. That's kind of my reasoning as well. And again, I do find it kind of wasteful to like throw something in the bin. So yeah, if I can avoid getting samples, I will. I already have so many products to try and use. So for me, getting those 3 products that is going to sit in my drawer isn't worth it for me, because again, I already have tons of products to go through. It is a little bit hard this time of year because there's tons of advent calendars coming out, and I do love the idea of a surprise, but I don't want to be surprised in a bad way. Another single item product that I no longer use are face wipes and makeup removers. They are super convenient when you're going traveling. I can so see the appeal of it, which is, you know, I guess why they're so popular and why people continue to buy them all the time. And I think a lot of these things that we do use nowadays is for convenience. You know, disposable nappies, it's so much more convenient than going out and buying a cloth nappy, which is more expensive. And you have to do a lot of washing. It's a decision that I've made because I want to positively change my impact on the environment. At the end of the day, you use it once, you chuck it away, and so I've kind of decided I don't want to do that. So instead, I've been using face halos for washing my face at night. I have pretty much enough to last me a week, and then I'll put it in the wash and use it again. I mentioned this in my previous video. I don't use face halos like a lot of people do, where I just put water, soak it in water, and then do my whole face. When I take my face of makeup off at the end of the day, I use an oil cleanser, use one side, wash my face, use one side to wipe it all off, then go in with a foam cleanser, and then use the other side to wipe the rest of my makeup off. By then, if I still have traces of makeup, I then use the small bamboo rounds and just get the rest of my makeup off with micellar water. That really works for me. No, it's not more convenient because I do have to wash these. I feel like a lot of these items that I'm talking about, you do sacrifice convenience for the betterment of the environment. People want convenience. People don't have a lot of time on their hands these days to be doing a load of washing every day, which I pretty much do. And I did ask my sister, do you think it's actually worse to send a whole bunch of things to landfill or consume more water? Because that is what has happened in my household, and it's kind of like, which is the lesser evil? It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell, and that's why I think a lot of these products will be used by people for years and years to come, because it's just so easy. It's so easy. I mean, I'm doing what I can. Obviously, you've got to make up your own decision to see whether or not this is something that you can fit in your lifestyle. In that same vein, I no longer buy cotton pads. And yes, cotton is biodegradable. I mentioned in my last video, I use the bamboo rounds. Sort of in that same vein, but not related to makeup, is baby wipes. I actually don't buy baby wipes anymore. I've discovered this awesome product called Cheeky Wipes. You get 2 boxes, you fill up both of them with water, and you put a few drops of tea tree oil or something in it to kind of give the antibacterial properties, and then soak some cotton squares into the water, and it becomes baby wipes. And they work so well. In fact, they work better than the baby wipes you're buying, because the wipes actually have a bit of texture, so it actually helps lift off the grubbiness on the bum a lot better than the traditional, you know, disposable ones would. So we actually use those now, and that has saved us so much money, because we would be buying, I swear, we'd be buying at least a packet of baby wipes every week or every fortnight, because we go through them like that. So we are no longer buying baby wipes, and I think that's a fantastic thing. But again, you don't necessarily have to buy this brand. I do have to say, going the environmental route has saved us some money, because if you think about the cotton wipes that I was using from Body Shop, I think they were like $7 for 100, $6 for 100, and I'd buy them very frequently. I no longer buy those. I no longer buy those baby wipes, which are, I don't know, $5 a packet, and we'd be buying that every week. We do save a bit of money, so that's the upside of that. By the way, I'm using these Ella Cosmetics brushes. They were so kind to send me a whole bunch of their brushes, and I have used their sponges before, and they're excellent. I've replaced every single beauty blender with an Ella Cosmetics sponge. They're really, really good. For synthetic brushes, they're really good too. Someone has actually asked me, how do I feel about synthetic brushes, because they are made of like plastic and synthetic fibers, which don't biodegrade. I feel like as long as they're made really well and really sturdy and made to last, then I don't have a problem with them. And these are very good quality. They're not your cheap like $2 eBay brushes. So I actually do enjoy them, and I have been using them all week. I love to see Aussie brands kind of more in the spotlight. So yeah, if you are in Australia and you're looking for some really good quality synthetic brushes, I would go check out Ella Cosmetics because their brushes are really nice. I don't remember where I left off because my battery died. I think that's my camera telling me I'm talking way too much. I love this mascara, but it's getting so dry that I can no longer use it on my eyelashes, but I do, when it gets to the point where it's quite dry, I like to use it on my eyebrows. Pretty much like to use things as long as possible before I chuck them out. Also, I'm gonna do a look that I did ages ago. I think it was my ranking all my palettes video where I had this, was it that video? It was like a purple and taupe eye. I thought I'd do something like that today and I can't remember how I did it, so I'm just gonna use what I have. I am gonna use the Marc Jacobs Seequins. I do love this product. I only have one of them and I don't feel like I need any more. But this is gorgeous. It's kind of like taupey with flecks of gold, bronze, a bit of purple. It's beautiful. So I put glitter glue on. I'm going to use one of the Ella Cosmetics brushes. I think this one, what is this? E14 brush. And put that on the outer, like halfway out. So yeah, I think I was talking about how much money I've saved from moving from single-use to reusable items. It's not a whole ton, but I think over time it does add up. So I do think that there is an upside to the lifestyle changes, although, you know, you are making things a little less convenient for yourself. Oh, I love this shade. It's beautiful. And then the last thing I had on my list, which is not really a single item per se, but it kind of becomes like that. It's makeup that you purchase to pretty much use only once. And I'm talking about things like metallic liquid lipsticks. Like I have metallic liquid lipsticks that I've purchased and literally just used once. And to me, that's a waste because you are essentially purchasing something just to use once. And I'm trying not to do that anymore. If you're like me and has been kind of enjoying makeup for a while, you may have amassed a sizable collection of makeup and eventually something's gonna give and you have to, you know, get rid of some of it. It's products like those that end up being thrown away, things that you've literally just used once that have kind of been like a realization like, oh, that was a waste of money and also just a bad purchasing decision. So I'm trying not to do that anymore. I'm trying not to buy things that my fantasy self would wear, but things that I would actually continue to wear again and again. I can definitely say that I'm in that boat of where, like for example, ColourPop, where things are so affordable. So even if you want something that you're gonna buy once, you feel like you're not wasting a ton of money because it wasn't expensive to begin with. But I do think that it's still, even though it wasn't expensive, it still is to me a bit wasteful to do that. And so I try and no longer do that. And I've come to that realization after doing my declutter videos, where I've been like, oh wow, I've only used this once. Was not the smartest thing to do. I guess I'm trying to shift the way I think about purchases and not just thinking about the money, but also thinking about like, am I gonna be using it like a single-use item? Because if that's the case, then I don't want that in my collection. So for me, that's kind of like weird shade of lipsticks. What else? Things I guess that I might not actually want, but buy for my channel just to review. And I kind of felt like that a little bit with the, I have to admit, the Pat McGrath foundation thing. I bought the whole set, including the crappy brushes that are just not worth, how much is she charging? $80, $100 for the brush? Something ridiculous. And the primer, that was just not smart. And I have to kind of move away from the thinking of, I'm buying this to review for my channel. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I don't really see myself as a review channel, but I do sometimes feel like I want to buy it to feature on my channel. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way, but I'm not the channel that you go to if you want to see the latest and best release, because I don't purchase things pretty much as soon as they get released. I myself do wait for reviews because I don't want to waste my money on something that's subpar. If it's something that I actually want and can see myself using again and again, then I'll make that leap. I'm using the purple from the new Pat McGrath palette, by the way. It is, I love this purple so much. Like, this purple is the star of the show. I love that it's kind of like a cool toned, kind of icy purple. It's the kind of shade that I think works really well for this kind of eye look. I think even layered on top of that sequins, it's stunning mixed in with that shade. Do you have makeup like that? Where you kind of just use once? I don't know, Halloween makeup. I don't celebrate Halloween. We don't really I feel like there's a group of people that's trying to make Halloween happen, And it's just not. To me, it's a very American holiday. I think if I dressed up for Halloween, people would think I'm crazy. But I know some people are crazy for that kind of stuff and they do buy like makeup just to dress up. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying, to me, I'm no longer going to be doing things like that because, first of all, I don't want to waste money on products I'm going to use once, because even if it's a $5 product, it's still $5 that I could have bought like a coffee, you know? Put a little bit of matte eyeshadow above that. I probably should have done this before, but anyway. I am using my Viseart Warm Mattes, and oh my gosh, I am so excited because I finally hit pan on it. Baby pan. It's not a very big pan, but it's so exciting because it's actually the first time ever that I've hit pan on eyeshadow, which some of you might think is crazy. Like, I told that to Jackie here that I had never hit pan on any eyeshadow, and she thought that was absolutely insane. But now I can say I have, so I am so happy about that. And I hope to do that on more eyeshadow palettes because I have been using a few of them consistently, so I don't see why I wouldn't hit pan on some of them. Very exciting stuff. What else is like a single use item to me? Glitters. Oh, that's another thing. I think I went through a phase where I thought that I was really into glitter, and I'm just not. That's another thing that I kind of dabbled into briefly, which I realized I hate. I mentioned this several times, like if you've watched me use palettes with glitters, each time I use a glitter, I'm just like, I hate this. I hate this whole experience. I don't like the fallout. I don't like anything like that. That's really annoying. That's why I don't mind products like that, which they've actually got things to hold it in, binder to hold it in. There is like that sparkly glitteriness to it, but it's not like full on loose glitter, which I absolutely despise, and it's just not me. You know, use with your own discretion because it's not eye safe. To me, this is sensible sparkliness. I know myself now more than I did, and I just know that that kind of loose glitter is not for me. It's literally sits in my drawer just looking at me like, what were you thinking? I think a lot of you may have gone through the same thing. You know, when you first start getting into makeup, you do a lot of experimentation, and you kind of work out what you like, what your preferences are when it comes to putting on makeup, and what you don't like. And for me, I do not like using glitter. Things like lip liners as well, I don't really use lip liners. I'm way too lazy for that. I probably put 60% of my effort or 70% of my effort into my base, 30% of effort into my eyes, and then the rest on, you know, eyebrows, lips, that kind of thing. It's just not an area that I focus on too much. So I put mascara on, and for my lips, I think I'm gonna use the shade Frisky from Melt Cosmetics. I really like this nude, actually. It's not too pink, which is what I like about it. And I think that's the look. So yeah, those are the single-use items I no longer use or don't want to use anymore. Hopefully you enjoy this. Again, these are issues that are really important to me. That's why I'm talking about it. I don't want to come off as too preachy or anything like that, because I do think that we need to all make our own lifestyle choices based on how we live our lives and what we think is right, I guess. I do want to use my platform to speak on issues like this that are important to me, so that's why I'm doing it. I would be really interested to hear what you no longer use either. Are there anything that is on my list as well, or anything that I haven't thought of? Because I do want to make more changes to my lifestyle as I can, and I think, you know, if you can, that's awesome, but it's not just up to us. And I'm not saying that, you know, it's all of our responsibilities personally, individually, but if you can, I think it's still something. I have to hope that it's still something. It gives me hope, and I try and be optimistic, and I guess that is why I have made the changes I've made, because I think naturally I can be quite pessimistic about these kind of issues. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great day over here, and I'll see you in the next one.